Welcome to WestfordCAT's weekly news show. I'm Alex Svensson. October is underway and we've got some big news stories for you this week. Let's jump right into this week's top stories.
I'm here at Nashoba Technical High School where you can see behind me police have blocked off the road. Further down the road, construction crews, National Grid, and Comcast are cleaning up after a van hit a utility pole earlier this morning, killing the power in the surrounding neighborhood and at the Nashoba Technical High School, forcing students to be sent home for the day. I spoke with police officers and construction crews on the ground and asked them about what happened.
Several blocks along Littleton Road in Westford lost power on Thursday, October 9th after a van crashed head-on into a utility pole, causing the pole to fall down. Shortly after 9 a.m. on Thursday, October 9th, the Westford Police and Westford Fire Department said they responded to an emergency call about the crash and the power outage, which occurred between 110 Littleton Road and the Nashoba Valley Technical High School. Firefighters quickly attended to the driver of the van, who Westford Fire Chief Mike Denny said was not injured during the crash. Meanwhile, officers shut down Littleton Road between Tadmuck Road and Boston Road, and notified National Grid about the damaged utility pole, which caused the power to go out in several homes and businesses in the area. Westford Police Captain Michael Brio said the school attempted to hold classes without power for about an hour before students were dismissed. Power was later restored to the Littleton Road and Boston Road intersection around 10:25 a.m., while power was restored to the Littleton Road and Tadmuck Road intersection around 11:15 a.m. Littleton Road remained closed between St. Mary's Drive and South Chelmsford Road through Thursday afternoon while National Grid repaired the utility pole. MassDOT placed detour signs in the area and officers directed traffic around the closed portion of Littleton Road. WestfordCAT spoke to utility crews at the scene, who said Comcast and Verizon were also there to assist National Grid with repairing the utility pole, as the pole did not only contain power lines but also telephone lines.
The cause of the crash is not yet clear and is under investigation by police. Reporting for WestfordCAT, I'm Alex Svensson.
A person was hospitalized following a 4-car crash on I-495 in Westford last week. Shortly before 5 p.m. on Friday, October 3rd, the Westford Fire Department said they responded to the crash, which occurred on the southbound side of the highway just before exit 83, which is the exit for Boston Road in Westford. Firefighters said EMS responded to the scene and the person was transported by ambulance to Lowell General with minor injuries. The scene of the crash was cleared shortly after. It's not yet clear what caused the crash, which is currently under investigation by the Massachusetts State Police, and the condition of the person taken to the hospital is also currently unknown. The Westford Planning Board recently held a special meeting on October 29th to review public hearings on zoning bylaw amendments and the continued site plan review for the proposed development at 37 Powers Road, a major multifamily project by ZD Acquisitions. The discussion on 37 Powers Road started with Jeff Morissette providing an update on the proposed package that's seeking further input from the board and the town council to refine the proposal. Attorney Melissa Dobbins, who represents the applicant, then presented plans and renderings, including views from Powers Road, highlighting the berm and landscaping intended to screen the buildings. Consultants from Hancock Associates, Dodson and Flinker Tech, and Ty and Bond reviewed the stormwater architectural, traffic, and engineering concerns. Key points included easements to be drafted and renewed by the town council, a $40,000 traffic mitigation payment which will be made at the end of the building permit, giving the town flexibility to address potential issues before full occupancy, building elevations and landscaping exhibits which will be provided before the next meeting, and finally conditions of approval which will address screening of mechanical equipment, retaining walls, and invasive species. Board members emphasized the importance of sharing presentation materials publicly before meetings and praised the extensive work on draft decisions. The hearing was scheduled to be continued on October 6th. Westford residents gather at the Rodenbush Community Center on September 25th for the first ever Tea with the Town Manager event, hosted by Town Manager Kristen Lass. The event was intended to be informal with no set agenda and was designed to give residents an open forum to ask questions and hear updates directly from town leadership. The discussion topics ranged widely, including the town's budget, the ongoing Boston Road reconstruction, trail improvements, the future of the fire station, the ongoing JV library construction project, the MBTA zoning proposal for 37 Powers Road, changes to town office hours, and upgrades to the town's systems and website. Tea with the town manager marks the start of what may become a reoccurring community engagement initiative. Now let's turn it over to our reporter Jenni Bahanek, who has an interesting story about a man who used to live in Westford and recently lost his H-1B visa.
Thank you, Alex. I have a story to share with you today. I recently spoke with a Chelmsford man and former Westford resident who recently was laid off from his job. Then he lost his H-1B work visa and lost his American dream. He almost lost his two beloved cats, Gamora and Thor. Vineet Murali came to the United States when he was 21 years old to pursue a career as a cancer researcher. He earned a master's degree and went on to work at prestigious medical research centers, including the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston. About a year ago, he bought a house in Chelmsford and moved there with his wife and 2-year-old daughter. His daughter loved the house. It had a big yard. Then in May 2025, Murali learned that he was being laid off from the Boston area biotech company where he worked. Because he had been working and living in the United States on an H-1B work visa, he had 60 days to find another position. I spoke with Murali, and this is what he told me. I've been here for 15 years. Everything done the right way, the legal way. There are so many people like me who spent their entire adulthood, all their prime years, giving their heart and soul to this country, worked hard, risen up the ladder, and just in an instant, their whole life gets turned upside down. President Donald Trump and his administration have been working to advance their agenda to reduce immigration to the United States. Recently, the Trump administration announced a proclamation to limit certain H-1B visas, and people like Murali on these visas must be working to stay in the United States and working in their field. In September, a few days after Murali sold his house, he learned that he had to leave the United States in 10 days. Murali was worried about his cats, Gamora and Thor. He didn't know if they could make the long plane trip, and he needed to get special requirements for them to fly. They were very special to his family. To hear the rest of Murali's story, visit the WestfordCAT website at www.westfordcat.org. Now back to you, Alex.
Thank you for sharing that story with us, Jenni. Now let's turn it over to our reporter Emily Collins, who has some big news for us about the Friends of the JV Fletcher Library's ongoing fundraiser.
Thank you, Alex. Nearly $1 million has already been raised for the JV Fletcher Library's long-awaited expansion. The Friends of the JV Fletcher Library have collected $925,800 toward their $1.5 million fundraising goal to support the project, which broke ground in January and is expected to take 3 years to complete. The 1,000 Homes initiative, led by the Friends through the JV Fletcher Library Foundation, aims to rally 1,000 local households to each donate $1,000 over the next 2 years. Foundation co-chair Mary Ann Seraphin said most of the money raised so far has come from other sources. We're almost at $1 million now, but it's not as a result of the 1,000 homes. It's more because of the naming opportunities in the building, Seraphin said. The Friends launched the Capital campaign to ease the financial burden on taxpayers. The $32.5 million renovation will expand the library from 22,456 square feet to 35,159 square feet. This will more than double the children's area and triple the space for tweens, teens, and young adults. The project will also add more public meeting rooms, collaborative study spaces, and upgraded technology, all while preserving the library's historic character. Funding for the project includes a $7.85 million grant from the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners, with an additional $829,263 to be awarded once the construction benchmarks are met. Additionally, in 2022, voters approved $23 million in town funding through a debt exclusion. To continue serving the community during construction, the J.V. Fletcher Library has temporarily relocated to 515 Groton Road, where it is offering many of its regular programs and services. The new library is expected to reopen in 2027. Now back to you, Alex.
Thank you for sharing that important update with us, Emily. Now let's take a look at the weather for this week. After an unseasonably hot week, temperatures have cooled off to what is normal for Massachusetts in this time of year. This week we'll see a similar pattern, with highs in Westford only in the upper 50s and low 60s. This week we'll also see another round of rainfall, particularly at the start of the week on Monday and Tuesday, with the rain likely to taper off on Wednesday, but another chance of rain for Thursday. Friday will be a cloudy end to the week. Because of the recent hot weather in Westford and in Massachusetts and New England as a whole, and ongoing very dry conditions, local experts say the fall foliage will not be as bright and vibrant as usual, with leaves turning a more browner and darker red color and more likely to fall off from the trees sooner than they usually would. That's all for weather. Now let's take a look at sports for this week. The Westford Academy Ghosts football team are looking for a win on Friday when they play their fourth away game of the season against the Bedford Buccaneers. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. at the Sabern Field in Bedford. Meanwhile, the New England Patriots will take on the Tennessee Titans for their third away game in a row and fourth overall away game this season. The Patriots, who are second in the AFC East after the Buffalo Bills, who they beat in a close game for an important win on October 5th, are hoping for another away win in Nashville on Sunday. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. at the Nissan Stadium in Nashville this Sunday. That's all for this week's edition of WestfordCAT News. We'll return on October 19th with more stories. I'm Alex Svensson, and thank you for watching WestfordCAT.